Here is another session from the series Defense Against Dark Acts. We are focusing on developing the knowledge, awareness, mental readiness to prepare our own protection shields against these frauds and intruders. Today, we'll be discussing about college student arrest scam. This scam has caused significant anxiety, distress, and financial loss to many parents of college going students. Let us look at how this scam is usually carried out. So, the modus operandi involves, of course, the fraudsters and the parents who are the victims here. And the parents receive calls, some sort of communication from these fraudsters, and the fraudsters masquerade as police officials and develop a crime scenario involving the son or the daughter of the uninformed parents, college going students. And usually they have some breached data. They know the phone numbers of the parents. They know the um, names of the students. They know that they are uh, studying in a college, or at least they have some idea that they are at the kind of age where they're supposed to be studying in college. And by using some breached data and brutal drama, they make it sound authentic. They create scenarios where it appeared to the parents that the students have been caught in a crime scenario. They have been taken to police custody, and the crime scenarios are usually made to look um, extremely serious, and they talk about severe consequences, and they also dramatize the situation quite a bit by um, using very real world like scenarios where uh, you know uh, people use abusive languages. um, they make people scream in the background as if somebody is being tortured to admit the crime. They even uh, have people making weeping sound in the background, the kind of sound that you typically imagine, you know, college students would make. And all that brutal drama, you know, pretty much creates a substantial amount of fear, panic, anxiety to the parents. And usually, as a result of that, the parents respond with fear, anxiety, and tries to find a way out. And this is where the fraudsters offers a way out by, uh, demanding for a bail money, and they continuously exert psychological pressure to transfer the bail money, make this, you know, kind of a uh, out of official procedures settlement case, and they create that desperation for the parents, and with that substantial pressure, the parents usually give up the resistance. They transfer the bail money as asked and end up becoming a victim of college student arrest scam. So what could be the counter strategy for it? Let's look at exactly how um, informed parents are supposed to react. So, everything remains same. But when there are these situations, when the parents have received the call and then they're experiencing, the situation, I mean, there are these crime scenarios that have been developed by the fraudsters. They're using breached data to make it look authentic. They're also dramatizing the situation to create psychological pressure. And this is where, while uninformed parents were uh, responding to the situation with fear, panic, and anxiety, the expectation from informed parents would be to um, carry on a situation analysis with level headedness and clarity of thoughts to validate that situation. And of course, the fraudsters will not like the situation analysis uh, very much. It will not be obviously in their favor. They will try to exert extreme pressure to get the parents trapped into the situation, to provide the bail money and make the settlement, etc. But again, informed parents are supposed to have the clarity of thoughts to decide the course of actions more appropriately and communicate as much needed with the fraudsters and break off for offline validation. And with these situation analysis, um, you know, a diligent decision making on the course of actions, the counter strategy would work in the favor of the parents. Now, here are some important information and recommendation that could be helpful for carrying out a situation analysis. So, something that everybody should be aware of, a police officer may call someone for preliminary inquiry before an FIR or may call someone for official inquiry after filing an FIR. An arrest usually is made after issuance of court warrant. However, there are certain sections, uh, section 41, 42, 43 of 260, 129, 151 of CRPC offers the power to police officers to arrest without warrant. Now, these are usually the kind of crime that that are considered to be severe. Like for example, and this is most of these scenarios that um, these scamsters develop are leveraging these sections. So they talk about drug peddling as a case, they talk about sexual crime as a case, and these are usually falling under one of these sections. So the severity of the crime under these sections are considered much higher, and that is where arrest without a warrant is a possibility here. Okay. Now, if the student stays inside a college premise, it is highly unlikely for police officials to bring a student into police stations without informing the college administration. And it is also highly unlikely that a government official, police officer, will grievously injure a college student during questioning or while keeping him or her under arrest, since that puts the pressure on the law enforcement agency going forward. And for a fraud attempt like this, college student arrest kind of frauds, the timeliness of information about student being in college would matter. So, there could be potential data breach from some of these college admission assisting sites or applications. So while you are disclosing information on some of these sites or applications, to prepare for college admissions, you might also as well be a little bit cautious, to disclose only as much information as necessary and mask information as you can. So now, keeping all these sets of information in mind, you can develop a potential line of interactions if at all you're facing the situation firsthand. In the line of interactions, you're definitely going to assess the genuineness of the scenario and also assess the extent of the data breach. So you're not supposed to respond or give up due to psychological pressure. You need to keep asking for relevant information so that you can validate the genuineness. You can start with which city and which police station the person is speaking from and ask for visual proofs and photographs. Now, irrespective of whether you get the photo or not, a photo of the current situation, like the student actually being in police custody, actually, uh, in a police station and in that sort of surroundings, please be aware, photos can be fake too. Okay, it depends on the preparedness of the fraudsters. They have usually various ways to, make their, uh, you know, claimed situation as authentic as possible. So you need to also validate the authenticity of the person posing as your son or daughter. Uh, you need to ask questions, some questions that, of course, the person particularly would be aware of. Like, for example, well, I mean, to start with, college, which branch he or she is studying, which date he shifted to the college, what is the hostel name or number, and the room number he or she is staying, what is his warden's name, class teacher's name. So some of these information would not be available, and most of this information would actually not be available to the fraudsters. I mean, no matter how prepared they are, these are the granularity of information that will not, you know, find it too handy. The fraudsters won't be able to get to this level of detailed information usually in most of the cases. However, the the usual uh, response strategy from fraudsters would be to not allow you to ask these questions at all, and they would continue um, taking the conversation away from these questions, and they would continue exerting more pressure to the whole situation. But you need to persist in your strategy. And you can ask the masquerading police officer about the details of investigating agency, department, branch, officer in charge name, email, phone number, FIR details if that is filed, start date of investigation, reason for arrest, nature of offense, proofs, and applicable sections. A police officer is supposed to be upfront with all this information. There should not be, none of this information is, uh, uh, something that a police officer, a genuine police officer will not be aware of. So need to ask these questions, need to make the person give more and more details to you. You need to pressurize the person to have these conversations openly and clearly. Now, some of the things that you can also keep in mind that you need to avoid app-based voice or video call. Uh, Try taking the call on mobile phone and record the conversation using call recording feature. And as a good practice, establish a prior understanding with your child to use a mutually known code word in these situations if ever the need arises. A kind of a code word that would clearly make you understand that the person on the other side is really your son or daughter. Now, beyond these aspects of situation analysis, deciding the next course of action is also extremely important. You must first try to make direct connection to your child. You should be able to call him up or call her up, or if is this particular phone number or hostel phone is not reachable, try calling up his or her friends to validate the situation. Now, if no information obtained due to unreachability of numbers or some other reasons, every information about police station in charge is usually available in government rolled out websites of respective states, including email and contact number of station in charge. Station in charge can be contacted over mails or phones to find out if investigating matter is real or fake. And if there are local guardians, like for example, you have already have somebody known in that particular city, and you might as well have, introduced your son and daughter to that known person and considered him or her as your local guardian for your child, you should definitely take the matter to him or her to validate the entire case. And if the case is suspected to be a fraud communication, you must submit that information to Government of India's Chakshu portal. Here is the URL for that. As you can see the URL on the screen, sancharsathi.gov.in/SFC. This is going to make sure that there is an independent validation to be done by respective department from the number that the call has come from, and through that, the telecom operators linked data will be evaluated. Now, these are the kind of inputs or approaches that you could consider as next course of actions. Now, we were talking about this information on police station in charge. Here is some sort of compilation of that information for your use, just in case you need it. For every major cities and states of India and union territories, the contact details of the the information on the contact details in the website are captured here. Each and every of these URLs will take you to the particular web pages where the contact details are available for the respective city or state or union territory. You can make use of it, and you can, further try and do an offline validation as we have been discussing before. This is the complete list. So with that, I mean, all this information and all this understanding of situation would essentially help you to respond to these situations if it ever, um, you know, if it ever come in front of you, if you have to ever deal with it. This is how you could think of responding. In summary, no matter how difficult the situation may appear, If you can keep your mind centered and keep a check on your emotions, there should be enough pointers around you that can help you to get a hold of the situation and protect your interest. You need to stay observant, stay centered, and keep your shields up. More recommendations and suggestions of different attacks published soon. Keep watching.